In this video, I'm gonna show you how I made $24,000 on a webinar with no product. And I achieved a 98% show up rate, 37% close rate, and again, no product. And I call this the ghost webinar. I see dead businesses. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact steps I took to do this, and you'll be able to implement it for your own company without buying anything from me. No, sir, I'm not gonna charge you a dime, nor am I gonna take you anywhere to a funnel or to anything to attempt to, in some future sense, charge you a dime, nor any amount of money. No, I am gonna give you this for free. The only thing I ask is one little teeny tiny request, and that is that you hit subscribe and tell all your family and friends about my YouTube channel. Hi, my name is Dan Henry, and I am the founder of GetClients.com and the co-founder of the new, what's the name of the company I just started? CloseDeals.com. And we help internet businesses get clients to close deals. So webinar conversion rates have gone down for years. Now, if you don't know what a webinar is, it's basically where you invite all these people to a Zoom room. You teach a bunch of cool stuff, and then you make a pitch. And you pitch a product like a service, an online course, a consulting thing, an event, a mastermind, whatever, and you make money. And for years, people made millions of dollars doing this, and they still do. My first 10 million in sales for my company was all webinars. And these tactics, these webinars still work today. They're just much harder. Why are they harder to make money with? Well, it's simple. There's so much education out there on webinars. There's so many books and courses and how to make money with webinars and scripts that people are all doing the same thing. They're all using the same tactic. And so like with any marketing tactic, the market becomes aware. And then once the market is super aware, it gets saturated, it becomes more competitive, and it becomes less effective. So what is the solution? Well, you only have two options. Either number one, you get way better at that tactic than everyone else, or you put a new spin on it. I prefer to do both, but today I'm gonna show you how I put a new spin on webinars that resulted in $24,000 in sales in 1 hour with no product, 98% show up rate, 37% close rate, and no product. I didn't sell a pre-made product. I know it sounds nuts, but I'm gonna show you how. So even though we've done roughly $30 million with webinars, and it's a tactic that just completely changed my life, my business, everything, even I have noticed a drop in show up and conversion rates for the past couple of years. And it makes sense because, look, people are busy, right? The average industry show up rate is anywhere from 15 to 25%, and sometimes you get even lower show up rate, 5 or 10%. So if people don't show up to your webinar, they can't listen, they can't buy. So show up rate is a huge issue. And again, I get it, people are busy, they have kids, things happen, dog shit's on the floor, life gets in the way. And so I decided to try sort of a risky endeavor because, you know, I've built up a reputation for being good at webinars. So if I tried this new tactic and it completely bombed, I would look pretty bad. But it was important to me to prove that I still have it. Look, once you start getting in your mid-30s, you know, one day you were hot and now you're just like a normal, like, internet marketing guru, and the next thing you know, you've sold your hippie van and you're like, hey everyone, my name is Frank Kern. I'm gonna show you how to use the internet. And I don't want that to happen. Love you, Frank. So I decided to try something a little different. I actually bought this email course from a guy named Seth Ellsworth. And it was this whole course about how to sell something over email. And basically, if they completed the program, the email course, they would get their money back. And so it made them complete the course and then buy the next thing. And I thought this was brilliant. So I was like, how can I apply this to webinars? So I thought, okay, here we go. I'll create a webinar and I'll say, listen, it's $1,000 to attend this webinar. It's $1,000 deposit. And if you show up to the webinar, you get the deposit back. But if you don't show up, I get to keep it. That was my idea. And I thought, well, wait a minute. This could be a terrible idea because what if nobody puts down a deposit? Or what if like 3 people do? They show up to the webinar, there's like 3 people there, and I look like a complete tool bag, which is entirely possible. But then, like 2 seconds later, I saw this ad in my feed that said, webinars are dead, do this instead. I said, no, sir. Webinars are not dead. Your ability to be innovative and creative and put in effort is dead. And I'm gonna prove it. So I decided to give it a shot. And I've seen crazier things work. I mean, oftentimes Legends in any industry were first called crazy. One of my mentors, Russell Brunson, always said, he said, pioneers are often found lying face down in the dirt with arrows in their back. And me, being a mouthy rebel that I am, I always used to say, well, they just didn't run fast enough. All right, so I decided that I was going to attempt to get 100% show up rate and at least a 20% close rate. And you're saying, wait a minute, what do you mean close rate? What are you selling? We'll get to that. And speaking of that, the main obstacle that I had to overcome was I had no product. You see, we had a coaching program that we have sold for the past several years, and I was in the middle of preparing to shut it down, and it has since been shut down. And so I didn't have anything to sell. I didn't have anything to sell. I didn't have any products to sell. So I'm like, how am I gonna make money off this webinar if I have nothing to sell? And on top of it, I had no presentation prepared. All I had was my trusty whiteboard that I just make stuff up off the top of my head randomly because I never prepare for webinars. That's not true. That's a lie. But I like to say that because it makes me sound all trendy and cool and artistic. The only other obstacle I had was trying to get it out of my head that this would be a huge flop. So my plan to get around this no product thing was to teach such good stuff on the actual webinar that people would be willing to buy the recording. All right, so as I'm sitting here coming up with the speeches that I need to do tomorrow, I realized that I needed to learn a little bit more about who was attending. So I talked to my operations manager and I said, hey, send an email out to everybody that bought a ticket to this event and say, what is your biggest issue with scaling past 100 grand a month? And what do you think you need to do to fix it? So what I'm doing now is writing down like what I'm gonna be doing. And over here, I've got some of the stuff I'm gonna be teaching. So this is pretty cool. I'm gonna do, what is Christianity, Mormon, Scientology, Islam, Russell Brunson, Gary Vee, and Tony Robbins have in common? They all wrote a book to influence millions. And then I got some other stuff, and I don't really do religious stuff normally, but this actually makes a lot of sense. So this is literally all I'm doing to prepare for this is just literally having bullet points, and I'll be going off of that. I'm mapping out all my stuff in advance so that I don't have to think about it when I do it. I just wanted to teach actual awesome stuff and not make a sales presentation out of it. And mainly what I decided to teach was all the stuff that we did over the past couple of years to grow our company. Just map it all out and show people how to do it. Not only that, I was gonna make it extra hard on myself, and I wasn't gonna create a fancy landing page or a funnel or even tell people what I was gonna cover. I was just gonna send them a order page, and then on the next page was a Zoom registration page. That was it. So I thought, okay, other than just saying I'm gonna cover something really amazing, what else could I do to entice people to join this webinar? And then I thought about it. I was like, I'll attempt to pitch a $1 million offer, because one thing I know about human psychology is people love to see people fail in spectacular fashion. I'm sure there were some people who wanted to see me close a $1 million deal on a webinar, but I'm sure there were far more people that wanted to see me bomb. Sort of like people that like to watch NASCAR for the crashes. Honestly, I didn't care why people were watching as long as they were watching. So the idea for the pitch was that I would say, hey guys, see this book right here? It's called Digital Millionaire Secrets. It made my company $15 million in sales after people read the book. I will ghostwrite your book for you, and you can sell it and get clients, and they'll easily close and the world will be merry. And so that was it. It was basically $1 million, and I will write your book that gets you clients. And look, this was a real offer, because if somebody was willing to give me $1 million, I would have ghostwritten their book. However, I never expected to actually sell the $1 million offer. It was just one way to entice people to come on the webinar. So I emailed my entire list and I said the following. I've been lying low for a bit, but for some reason this week I had a spontaneous burst of creativity and thought I would tell you about a completely impromptu training that I'm doing. If you are at 100K per month and want to 5X that within 6 months, I'm doing a live webinar this Friday. We were stuck at low six figures for the first 2 years of our company. Then all of a sudden, as if a rocket booster got strapped to my ass, we catapulted to $1 million months and even a couple $1 million days. What changed? What magical fairy dust did we sprinkle on our marketing to create such a magical result? Well, this Friday, I'm going to show you exactly what we did. And if you're stuck at 100K per month, this is going to help you get over the hump. This training is free, but I only want serious people on the call. There will be a Q&A at the end, and I don't need any weirdos. So it's a $1,000 deposit, and if you show up, you get it back. If you don't, I keep it, and you don't get a replay, and I promise to spend it on something really stupid. Also, I'm pitching a $1 million offer, no pay plans, and we only have one spot available. See, now you don't have to worry about what you're being pitched and can just enjoy the content. Since almost all of you will not be taking me up on this offer, consider this entire training a complete freebie. Even though I'm determined to bring the value for about 2 hours, even if you don't get a single golden nugget, you'll at least get to see me pitch a $1 million offer on a 2-hour webinar. Now that I am typing it out, it sounds kind of crazy. Good thing I'm nuts. Submit your deposit and get your ticket at brandauthorityprofits.com. Remember, if you show up, you get your grand back. But if you don't show up, I keep the $1,000 and spend it on something really dumb. Submit your deposit and get your ticket at brandauthorityprofits.com. So that was the first email. And then I sent even more. 32 people have already blindly given me money. A $44,000 golden bidet, better show up. This one was a good one. I'll read this one as well. Currently, 44 people have submitted their $1,000 deposit to attend my scaling training tomorrow. And I haven't even mentioned what I'll be covering. All you need to know is you'll learn how to scale past $100,000 per month, and you'll get to watch me pitch a $1 million offer. As stated before, if you don't show up, I keep the deposit and spend it on something stupid. Currently, I'm considering a golden bidet, filling my bathtub up with diamond crushed jello, or perhaps buying stock in Clear Channel Radio. But remember, if you show up for the training, you get your deposit back. I'll be covering everything you need to know to scale past $100,000 per month. There's less than 24 hours to get in, and there will be absolutely no replay, nor will I be selling this training. Click here to get the details. Remember, everyone signs up at the last minute, and we currently have sold half of our spots. Get your ticket here. And that was it. And a few more emails, but that was the gist of it. Now, I had no idea if this was gonna work, but lo and behold, people started submitting $1,000 deposits like crazy. It's the night before, and I've sold 50, so that's 50 people coming. And it was all to a crappy order page, to a Zoom registration page, no fancy funnels or landing pages or anything like that. So I started sending out more emails talking about how I was gonna buy all these stupid things like golden bidets, and I was gonna get more bigger golden bidets and just dumb stuff. And I was really just trying to make it funny and entertain people. In the end, 65 people submitted a $1,000 deposit. It's just a few hours away from the webinar, and of course I had to wake up with an ingrown hair on my face. There's Brandon, there's the computer, the whiteboard, my notes. 98% of the people showed up. 64 out of 65 people showed up. Only one person didn't show up, and it's because we were kind of dumb. We threw this together in like a day, and we put the Zoom registration link on the next page after they ordered, but we didn't email them the link, and I guess the guy just clicked out and never saw it. So we just refunded them and moved on. So we did the webinar, and over the next hour, I taught all kinds of cool stuff. I taught how I wrote this book and how it generated 15 million for us, how the book, people that would book sales calls from the book closed 400% higher than people who watched just a webinar. I just taught all this cool stuff. So we're like literally in the middle of the event and the pitch, and I'm just filming this. So real quick, am I delivering, guys? Am I delivering? Yes. Yes? Yes? All right. So the people on the webinar really, really loved it. So here's what I said at the end of the training. For those of you that want your deposit back, simply type in the chat, "I want my deposit back." Put your email in and we will refund you in the next hour. For those of you that really enjoyed this webinar today and you'd like a recording so you can go back and watch it over and over, drop in the chat, keep my money and put your email, and we will not refund you, but we'll send you a recording of this webinar. Out of the 65 people that paid the $1,000 deposit, 24 let us keep the $1,000 deposit just to get the recording of what we just taught for free. So we made $24,000, a 37% close rate, which is really good for a webinar. And I didn't even have to create a product. I just gave them the recording of that webinar. So the key was to really, really teach something good on that webinar and give massive, massive value. And it was nuts. When I got off the webinar, I called my operations guy and I was like, Jesse, how many people let us keep the deposit? How much did we make? And he's like, we made 24 grand. I'm like, you're freaking kidding me. I thought like 2 or 3 people would do it. No. And we got a couple calls booked for the $1 million offer. One showed up and ultimately it wasn't a fit. And honestly, I'm kind of glad nobody took it because I really don't have time to write a book right now. But I would have done it. It's $1 million. But 24 grand? no product, just by teaching some amazing stuff on a webinar, you can totally see how you can replicate this. And it really changed the way I looked at business because it taught me that if you just really think about things and you experiment and you just strive to be innovative, you can stumble on some really amazing things that could change your life and your business forever. And to me, honestly, it wasn't about making 24 grand. It was about knowing that I can produce results without all the things that most people tell you, like, oh, you gotta have fancy webinars, you gotta have fancy copy, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, all these automations. We did everything wrong there. But the offer itself, the angle, the creativity of it was so good that it worked, and it worked better than what most people do with all those fancy bells and whistles. Now, how am I gonna use this tactic in the future? I don't know, but I know if I ever need a quick cash injection, or if any of you watching ever need a quick cash injection and you have a list and you have some knowledge, you can use this same tactic and you can get some immediate cash flow from your business just immediately, just right away. And you don't have to create anything. You just teach something you already know and just do a really good job, just really deliver for people. That's it. So the moral of the story is this: just because you think something is saturated or overdone doesn't mean you can't put a new spin on it and make it work better than it ever has. So to recap, all you have to do is think of a topic that you can really teach some amazing stuff on. Email your list and say, here's what I'm gonna teach, or say, here's the result I got, I'm gonna teach you how we did it. You don't have to do like the $1 million pitch part. That was just an extra little thing I threw in to entice people to come. Have them submit a deposit, 500, 1,000, whatever you feel like what you're gonna teach is worth. And honestly, what you teach should be worth 2 to 3 to 4 or more times whatever the deposit is. Send them to a crappy order page, redirect it to a Zoom page, make it simple. I mean, literally, it took us literally 5 minutes to set up. We didn't design anything, we just take them to a Zoom room, teach them amazing stuff, and then just say, listen, if you guys wanna keep this, let us know, we'll keep your deposit, we'll send you a recording, and if you don't, then just let us know and we'll refund you. Simple. And then nobody can be mad, right? And nobody's gonna ask for a refund because they've already experienced the product. They already know what they're getting. Why would you ask for a refund or say, this wasn't what I thought, when you just experienced the product itself? And you're literally just saying, keep my money so I can keep the product I already got to go through. So that's it, that's all the steps, there you go. No, you don't need to buy anything, you don't need to buy a course, you don't need to do anything. Just go do it, go make money. And like I said, I did think about charging for this, but then I was like, no, I'm just gonna give this away for free. I've already made a insane fortune selling info products and selling my knowledge online. At this point in my career, I'd like to just give way more value to the market for free. So go use it, make money, and if you found it valuable, just subscribe, follow me, tell other people to follow me. Word of mouth, that's all I ask. Also, if you'd like a free PDF version of this video with everything I said, all nice and neat in text, and copies and transcripts of the emails I sent out to make this happen, then I'll leave a link in the description where you can grab that. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to see my next video. I don't know when that'll be, but I'm all about quality over quantity, so make sure you subscribe and get notified. Hope this helps. See you in the next one.